Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. I'd like to present today's video sponsor, NordVPN's HelloFresh Scentbird. Link in the description. 12 months, 12 years free. Buy my fragrances. Hope you guys are doing well. We're starting off hot, off the rails. I've got some fragrances for you guys today. 10 different ones for winter that are gonna have you smelling better than everybody else, literally everybody else. If they're wearing the same fragrance that you're wearing, know that you smell better wearing it than they do. Sorry, losers. All of these are gonna be linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. Let's get kicked off with Drar Intense. I'm sorry, I had to. I looked down, I saw all the other fragrances that are here that I chose, but this one kind of leaped out because Drar. It's always watching. Drar Intense does have a little bit of a similarity to good old Drar Noir back there. Also has a little bit of a similarity to something like Azzaro Pour Homme Intense. Extremely masculine. This stuff, not for wimpy boys. If you don't like this, am I calling you a wimpy boy? Of course not. Am I not calling you a wimpy boy? Of course not. Is that like, that's a triple negative. But yeah, it does have definitely kind of a throwback style to it. So younger guys out there are probably not gonna like this one quite as much. Has a nice little hint of almost like spicy sweetness when you spray this one on. Though in the note breakdown, there's really not a whole lot of spices to be found. It's a fragrance that has a nice classiness to it. Smells perfect when it's cold outside. And the best part, it is dirt cheap. Now you may be saying to yourself, well, how cheap is dirt cheap? How does 15 bucks sound? Yeah. You can get this for under $15 at discounters. It's basically free at that point. And I don't want to hear anybody out there complaining about a $15 fragrance. Some people, and if this is you, I'm not talking about you, pretend this isn't about you. But some people will buy something that's like 15 bucks or 10 bucks and they'll be like, oh, this doesn't smell super expensive. This smells a little cheap. You don't say. The thing you paid $10 for smells kinda cheap. No way.
I pretend like their insults don't get to me, but they do.
To be fair, this does smell much more expensive to me than a $15 fragrance. I'm just saying, sometimes expectations, gotta keep them in check, right? If you paid $150, totally different. Love you, bud. Before we hop to the next fragrance, guys, here are some codes you can use to save yourself money across a multitude of different websites, including the Perfume Box, Fragflex, Max Aroma, JOMASHOP. If you want to spend all the money, don't use the codes, pay full retail. The stores will appreciate that. Or you can give them the middle finger and use my code. I'm not biased. I'm not biased at all. What? Let's see, guys, what do we want to go with next? You know, Scandal Absolute. I'm gonna go with that one. You know why? Because I want to smell it, that's why. Ooh, cap is tight. Scandal Absolute is sick. Not sick in a way like it needs to go to the hospital, but sick as in, it's real good. Absolutely love that fragrance right there. Now, I really liked the original Scandal and Le Parfum. Those fragrances, the more I wore them, the more I enjoyed them, the more I liked them. And I still contend that those fragrances, again, Scandal and Scandal Le Parfum, are just as good as things like The Most Wanted and Stronger With You as far as pulling compliments goes. Around fall and winter time, those are great. They're not quite as sweet, a little more aromatic, you could say slightly more mature than those other fragrances I mentioned, but they're just as good. That being said, Scandal Absolute to me is the best one. It takes the aromatic feel that those other Scandal fragrances have and it lowers it. Then it takes the sweetness, brings it up a little bit, the warmth brings it up. That makes it appeal to more people, makes it more usable for more people because older guys can still wear this and have something that has a little bit of that playful edge, but it's still got a nice classiness to it, where it's not quite as mature as the other Scandal fragrances. Younger guys can wear this too and absolutely crush with it. One of my favorite releases of the year, easily. Scandal Absolute is fantastic. Let's see. Let's go with this kind of rando one that I grabbed. Polo Red Parfum from Ralph Lauren. Now, to be fair, my absolute favorite Polo Red fragrances are discontinued, so I can't really share those because they're very difficult to find unless you want to pony up a lot of money. And those are Polo Red Intense and Extreme. But Parfum smells pretty good. Really pleasant opening. Sweet, slightly sugary, good amount of blood orange in there, so it grabs attention as soon as you spray it on. Also have a little bergamot, some musk as it dries down. Woody notes as well. Stays very fresh and clean, but has a good amount of depth to it. So this is one of those fragrances that doesn't really come across as necessarily like a middle of summer type fragrance, but it is the type of scent that during fall and winter, you can easily pull this off, and it's gonna give you a little more of a fresh wearing fragrance compared to most winter and fall fragrances, if that makes any sense at all. So what I mean by that is a lot of times when it gets to fall and winter, people are like, okay, it's time to bust out the heavy hitters, the really deep stuff, the heavy stuff, the really warm stuff, spicy, right? Tobacco, leather, oud, stuff like that. And what gets lost in the shuffle sometimes is fragrances that have a little fresh aspect to them, you know, something that's easier going, more versatile. And that's what this is. Because like I said, it's maybe actually not perfect for middle of summer, but during winter and fall, gives you a nice change of pace. And like most Polo Red fragrances, pretty good compliment puller. There's a reason that they still sell very well. And it's not because they make people puke. That was a little bit too much. It's not because people don't enjoy them. That sounds much better. Let's see, where do we go next? Let's go 1 Million Golden Oud. We have switched gears. Very different from this one. There we go. Yeah. Nice. You remember what I just said about fragrances in fall and winter having leather and oud and spices, and sometimes you want to go with something different? This is if you don't want to go for something different, at least as far as it does have those notes. It's got leather, it's got oud, it's got saffron, it's got patchouli, it's got cedar, it's got nutmeg. It's similar to Penhaligon's Halfeti or Chopard's Oud Malaki, kind of in that style. It does have a nice little bit of sweetness off the top. That's gonna be that saffron and that nutmeg coming together. It's very warm. It's actually decently smooth for this type of scent. It packs a punch. It's got good performance, projection, longevity, everything that you would want and expect from a 1 Million branded fragrance. It is gonna be, for some people, a little bit more of like a special occasion type scent, maybe not necessarily the type of thing that you would bust out every single day, but it will absolutely set you apart, that's for sure. Let's go with this. Myself, Le Parfum. Now, when it comes to Myself, the fragrance, it's gonna be one of those mixed bags as far as which one you like more between the Le Parfum and the Eau de Parfum. My wife prefers the original, the Eau de Parfum. That one is gonna be fresher. It's gonna come across almost like clean clothing to an extent. It's very, very easy to wear, smooth, just a little hint of sweetness in there. And that one is better suited for spring and summer. This one takes that idea, that DNA, that scent profile, and makes it better for cool weather. So everything has been tweaked. You know, the levels have been changed here. It still has that orange blossom that you're gonna find in the original Myself, but you have an addition of vanilla, a good amount. Also amber, a little more of a woodiness that comes through, patchouli, other woodsy notes. Performance is solid. Again, has that same appeal that the original Myself has, just darkened a little bit, slightly bolder, a little bit sweeter. And it is one that smells absolutely killer in the air. When people pick this up coming off you, ooh, magnetic. My wife actually did walk that back too. She did a smell-in rate of like the 10 biggest new releases of the year, and this one didn't fare that well. But then I was wearing it when it was chilly out, changed the tune a little bit. It's not always the best way to experience a fragrance, spraying it on a tester strip and sticking it up your nose. That's why it's important to wear fragrances on skin, but that's for another video. Oh, why am I smelling this? There's nothing on this. It was a prop. Let's throw it back to this one, NDC Parfum from Issey Miyake. Now I will say, this is not my favorite cool weather Issey Miyake fragrance, but my favorite ones are basically impossible to find. I've talked about this before, but Issey Miyake is frustrating because they come out with these fragrances that are just absolutely stunning as far as cool weather scents. You know, fall and winter time, just drop dead gorgeous fragrances, and they sell out like that, and then they're just gone. Pulse of the Night, for example, I really, really love that one. Noir Ombre, I mean, honestly, there's like at least 5 or 6 that pop right into my head. But this one, you can still find, yeah. And it's a little bit similar to Noir Argent, which is another Issey Miyake fragrance that's hard to find. So you could almost use this as like a fill-in, a stand-in for that fragrance. So this one has leather, vanilla, patchouli, tonka, also has pink pepper in there, a touch of citrus. It's very magnetic, seductive, rich, sexy. The leather is not animalic. It has this like spiciness that's never overly sweet, just really appealing, high quality, high class stuff. And while it lasts for a long time, the projection is a little bit more moderate. It's not weak, it's just a little more moderate, which can work out really well on an evening out. Okay, this next one, I know a lot of you out there are gonna be like, oh, stuff kind of sucks, honestly. But I like it. And from time to time, you know, it's quite rare, but from time to time, I do like to bring this one up. It's Intenso from Dolce & Gabbana. I actually had this little bottle, which was the first bottle that I bought of this when it was basically new. And then I got a really big one for a nice price, like a few years later. So I've got a couple bottles. And as of this video, this is the last flanker in the Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme line, assuming we're not talking about light blue, just the original Pour Homme. And I can still remember when this was brand new, people were pretty excited. They were like, oh, this is gonna be great. And then it came out and a lot of people just kind of hated it. So this one came out actually 10 years ago. It's kind of weird that it's actually been that long. Time flies. Yeah. It's got a lot of notes because it's a fragrance from a different time period, a time period where brands actually provided notes for fragrances. Nowadays they give you 3 and tell you to get lost. This one has lavender, hay as a note, aquatic notes, tobacco, also some woods, some little herbal aspects in there, some florals as well. To me, it's a very classy aromatic fragrance you can wear pretty much year round. The performance is not massive here, but I'm fine with that because this is a nice change of pace. Again, kind of going back to what I talked about here, I do like to work in some fragrances time to time that aren't your more typical, super heavy, warm, sweet type of scents when it gets cold out. It's a really nice office fragrance, actually perfect for that situation. And if you like the original Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme, which is almost forgotten nowadays, it feels like, you should check this one out too. XX up next from Varvatos. Good old Johnny V, giving us those fragrances that become hidden gems basically as soon as they're launched. Good job. This one has apple, blackcurrant, cardamom, sandalwood, coffee as some of the notes in the fragrance. Really nice sweetness to it. A little bit similar to La Nuit de l'Homme Eau de Parfum, so kind of in that style. Great evening fragrance, good date night fragrance, good compliment puller. The price has started to creep down on it. At discounters, you can get a 75 ml bottle of this for about 35 bucks as of this video. Larger size bottle like this one, about 45. And Varvatos has long gotten hate for their performance in terms of the fragrances, how long they last, how long they project, how long they long for. Yeah, they get hated on sometimes. This one's not too bad. It's competently average. Is it strong? No. Is it weak? No. It just gets the job done. And I like it as a sweet, easy wearing scent with enough interesting facets that it keeps my attention. Also, I like the bottle for the most part. Sometimes that gets annoying, but that's fine. It's no problem. All good. Let's talk spicy leather up next from Ferragamo. This is, as of now, my favorite in this line of Ferragamo fragrances, and also is usually the hardest one to find, so there is that. And when I say that, the hardest one to find, I'm not talking about it's impossible to find at full retail. You can find it at full retail. I'm talking about for a discount. Not that it matters because I already got mine. Although as of this video, I don't know how long it's gonna last, probably like 5 seconds, but as of this video, JOMASHOP has it for like 55 bucks, but it's not in the full normal presentation. It's actually a gift set that comes with extra stuff. So there is that. Don't yell at me if it's gone. I don't know, man. Just keep your eyes open. But even at full retail, it's $112, which is pretty good, honestly. That price is low compared to what most things are nowadays, and the quality here matches that price point and beyond, like Buzz Lightyear style. It's got leather, sandalwood, pepper, nutmeg, saffron, so obviously it has spices and it has leather. It accomplishes what the name sets out to do. It's really appealing while at the same time being quite unique. And I think that, again, it's the standout from that line right now. And not that any of the fragrances in the line are bad, because there aren't any that you smell and you go, oh, this is complete and total garbage. But I do think their most recent one, Red Leather, is probably the weakest one out of them all. So We'll see if Ferragamo pulls a Ferragamo, basically. Because what happened with Ferragamo Uomo, which is a great line of fragrances for the most part, the original Uomo and Signature are the best, but that line felt like it was kind of on the downward slope a little bit. And instead of going, okay, let's come out with something really good, they were like, let's kill the entire freaking line and come out with a new one. So hopefully they don't do that again. But I don't know. Ferragamo, I don't trust you. Last but not least, Tom Ford Ombre Leather Parfum. Just finishing with the most expensive one, I guess. Yeah, start with the cheapest, end with the most expensive, with just random stuff in between. Because Tom Ford means quality, and also a really high freaking price tag. That's good though. Dang it. At discounters though, you can get this marked off, and then it's still expensive, just not quite as expensive. About $100 for this size, 50 mil, and like $175 for 100 mil, so yeah. It's a very smooth leather fragrance, has nice floral aspects to it, violet and jasmine especially. You also have a little bit of iris in there, gives it a great like faint creaminess around the edge, good sweetness as well. Extremely classy, sexy, seductive, easy to wear. Of course, the original Ombre Leather would be a good choice as well. And if you didn't have quite as much money, but you wanted something similar, you can get Rare Carbon. Rare Carbon is a very nice clone of Ombre Leather. It's just much more affordable. So there we go, guys. Those fragrances right there, these 10 will have you smelling absolutely lights out. Like I said, if somebody else is wearing the exact same fragrance, honestly, chances of that pretty low. You're gonna run into somebody wearing the same thing, but if they are, you can rest assured you smell better, because I'm giving you those magical juju vibes. You smell better, you smell better. Forget that other guy, or girl, or dog, or whatever. Thank you guys. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.